From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. We have ourselves a very jam-packed day of some pretty good sports and everything that are going on and everything like that. We had ourselves a fight this morning. Big fight this morning as well, too. Pound for pound settlements and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, we have ourselves a monster. Inoue shows that the hype is real, and he is truly the monster of the little men in boxing. What's next for this young legend? All right, well, pretty much what happened this morning was this. Fight was billed to be a super fight, super situation, super great moment, and it did not live up to any of that. What happened was that they felt the bigger man, Stephen Fulton, was going to come in here and absolutely, box off Inoue's head, because they felt like, guys just head hunting and he's just looking for certain ways to go about his business. But they figured out that this man has a very vast IQ when it comes to boxing generalship, and also saw that the guy has some very game-changing power as well, too. I feel like Inoue really was motivated by the little tactics that they tried to pull off early in the fight week with the wrapping, with the gloves, then kind of hinting towards PEDs and things of that nature. None of it was true. None of it was moving anybody in any way. All it became was a distraction for Fulton in his camp, and motivation for Inoue in his camp. And when I look at this situation, a lot of people said that Fulton was a great fighter. I would say he's a very, very, very good fighter. But being a great fighter there's levels to that. And Inoue is a great fighter. Let me tell you why. This was his 20th world title fight. The guy has been fighting for world titles, not the local NABF title, not the NABO title, not the WBC silver belt. This guy has been fighting for world championships since his 5th fight. Okay? And he's won 20 of them, and 14 ended in knockouts. He hasn't fought anybody but a champion or a mandatory in the last 4 years. He has stepped into the arena of greatness, and this was like 10 fights ago. This isn't even right now. This was just his defining moment that finally put him over with most American fans, because people didn't believe that Inoue was this good of a fighter. No, it's not good. He's great. That's the thing. And a guy like Fulton was the greatest measuring stick of them all. And Fulton, I felt, did have a great chance to beat Inoue. I felt like he was going to be able to use all those great skills that he does have to keep Inoue frustrated and be the faster guy. But that was not the case. Inoue was faster than him too. And he was a better boxer than him too. And literally, he could read everything that was coming already. And that's what just stunned me the most. But when he knocked him out, it was just like, wow. He did that. He literally parked Stephen Fulton, a guy that you wouldn't think could get parked like that. I'm not going to say it was easy, because it was a cumulative punches that got it done. but it was the great array of jabs up top and down to the body. And pretty much when you look at Inoue, he is a superstar. He can sell in the U.S., but he has to get a promoter that makes him the priority. So, as I've been saying all morning, I feel that if they come back to America for a super fight, they have to go to the highest bidder, highest site fee, and the best promoters offer. No more dealing with Top Rank, and try to make an exclusive deal with just ESPN and not Top Rank. This can happen because Inoue has the star power to make that happen. And if he was to fight in Los Angeles, this would be huge. If he was to fight somewhere like in Seattle, that would be huge because the Asian market is lovely in both of those places. So he has two places where you can do absolute monster events. And I just truly do feel that Inoue has arrived, and he's not just a little small fighter in irrelevant divisions anymore. This guy is the man when it comes to that side of the on that side of the boxing world, because it's the little side, the middle side, and the big side. And he is dominant in those. So when it comes down to it, nobody at his weight class is probably messing with him. And he probably can take on anybody at 126, and he possibly can take on anybody at 130 as well, too. I would love to see some catch weight fights with Inoue down the road as well, too. I think that a fight with Tank is very, very doable. You know what I mean? There is no mismatch in that situation, in my opinion, because it's all about ring IQ, and they both have those ring IQs. And I would say this, I dare to say this, Inoue's much smarter. I think that Tank is just taking advantage of ready-made opponents. Thing with this guy is he is going after whomever because he wants the challenge. It's a big difference. And this is going to keep a lot of people excited for years on out now. And I think we found ourselves a guy that you can truly say, hey, you know what? He's not scared of anybody. And he really can back it up. And he has the promoters that are willing to help him back it up. And all you can do is just tip your cap to that type of mentality. And pretty much with Cool Boy, it was a great effort. He went over there. He made some very good, he made a very good showing for himself, even though he lost. And he lost in a dominant fashion, but still he showed that he was willing to be great as well too. And he just got overwhelmed by a guy that you felt was a 50-50 fight, and it wound up not being a 50-50 fight. It happens. It happens. But I would say this, that people should not look at this like this was Corrales Mayweather. This was more in the realm of, I would say, Loma Gary Russell. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people felt Gary Russell was going to absolutely do what he wanted with Loma that night, and he didn't. And pretty much got dominated in every single way. Even though it was a majority decision, come on, we all know exactly that fight wasn't really that close. So pretty much that's the feeling that you do get here. And I know a lot of people are kind of upset for Fulton really hard, man. And I get it. I get that part. But at the same time, too, you can't cheerlead for one side. You have to always look at this thing on a 50-50 perspective. And yes, if that's your guy, that's your guy. But at the end of the day, you don't need to disrespect this guy as we're moving towards the fight and not giving him any type of chance to beat Fulton. That was absolute stupidity. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And I felt that they were just literally overlooking Inoue way too much, to the fact to where it was like you were offended that Inoue was the favorite. You were offended that he wraps his hands a certain way. You were offended that he punches a certain way. And at the end of the day, those are all cooked up excuses because they knew Fulton wasn't going to beat him. It's just that simple. And I keep telling you guys this. If you have a side that starts making up excuse after excuse on a daily basis, they're not confident in that guy. they're not confident going in, but they're going to say they're going to hold that flag up because they don't want to see the other guy be successful. But they know he is, but they got to go ahead and make themselves feel better about it. So they have to downplay how great certain guys are. Inoue is a guy that you can't downplay. It just doesn't matter. But he's from the school of show and prove, and he showed and proved. So with that, congratulations to Inoue on winning the WBO, WBC belts. And also congratulations to Stephen Fulton for showing up, fighting, defending his belts, and he came up short, but still, the guy has a very bright future, and he got about 5 big paydays ahead of him right now. So, with that, let's go ahead and move forward and get into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be Spence and Crawford. Fight week will begin today with the traditional grand arrival at MGM in Las Vegas. So today is not a day to where you have to go crazy or anything like that. You're not going to be able to do anything like get an autograph, have them sign anything, because this is usually the guys have been there. They were there yesterday or Sunday or really last week. It's not really a grand arrival because nobody went home. Everybody stuck around. And these guys aren't even staying at hotels. They're staying at rented out houses, things of that nature. They're not going to be anywhere around where people can run up on them and say and be all in their face. And if they are there, they're probably in the back at the signature and something of that nature where you can't just pull up back there and be bothering people. So pretty much they're on some rock star status here. It's going to be huge today because I know when they get there, the big star is going to be Isaac Cruz, because Isaac Cruz had literally 30,000 people following him from across the street over at the T-Mobile back over to the MGM. Literally, he could have hired his own security crew with the way that he was mobbed, the way that that happened. But today, I truly do feel that we do have ourselves a very good we have ourselves a very, very fun event. A lot of fans are going to be there, but I don't think that they're going to pack it out like the Canelo events that I've seen in the past, because I know a lot of people are probably getting to the fight week a little bit later than today. I know that there are going to be people that are there from Tuesday to Sunday and things of that nature. I know when I used to do this all the time, I would pull up on I would usually pull up on Wednesday, because usually on Wednesday it's going to be the press conference for the main event. But this time around, they're not doing that. What they're doing is the main event press conference will be on Thursday. Tomorrow, they're going to have a workout for the public at MGM. And then today is the grand arrival. Friday will be the weigh-in, which will be televised on Showtime as well, too. So you do have that. I think that it would have been smarter if they would have possibly got CBS Sports Network involved in this situation as well, too, or possibly CBS and did it at a primetime hour to show the weigh-in. But they'll get there. And when I look at it, this fight probably doesn't serve that type of magnitude in reality. You know what I mean? It's a big fight for the boxing world, but for the sports world, event-wise, it's just kind of part of the group this weekend. Even though it does take precedent over a lot of things, you still got baseball, which is booming again. You got the WNBA this weekend as well, too, and you got golf. But this will be what everybody's watching at night. And, UFC is going to try to rear their little head in here as well, too, and have their little, fight night card as well. But it's not going to compare to what this fight brings. This one fight dwarfs any other combat situation Saturday night. So when you look at the situation, the way that it's setting up, it's brewing to be one of those fights to where you couldn't cut the tension with a knife, because it's going to be that thick. And I'm telling you right now, it's like an explosion's about to happen once these guys step into the ring and it goes ding ding, because it ain't about trainers no more. It ain't about your fans no more. It ain't about It ain't about who's the A side, who's the B side. It's all about who is the man, who got the juice, who's the true pound for pound king. And we'll get all those answers settled Saturday. But right now, the pageantry begins. And today, it begins with the traditional grand arrival. So, with that, let's go ahead and move on to a different topic, and that's the NFL. And we know that you are king. And today, the 49ers have a bunch of storylines going into the start of training camp. Will this be a distraction moving forward? I say this because right now they're in the middle of a 3-race quarterback situation. You got Sam Darnold, former top 5 pick. You got Brock Purdy, former Mr. Irrelevant. And then you have former top 5 pick in Trey Lance. So you have a guy in Trey Lance that you felt that you were set to have him be your quarterback of the future. He winds up getting hurt, and the guy who's supposed to be the third stringer, because your backup, Jimmy G, got hurt as well too, the third stringer steps in and becomes the end-all, be-all at the quarterback position. A lot of people feel that he needs to be the starter. He's never lost a game. He never lost a game either. So he had a lot of things that were working for him in that regard. And it pretty much became to where Brock Purdy had won the job to most skeptics. So it becomes to the fact that he has a I'm sorry, I got messages coming in. It comes to the fact that now he has to play for his starting job again, even though they solidified him as the starter. So now all right. So pretty much okay, sorry, just over here, gotta send back messages. But all in all, when it comes down to Trey has not been getting the love that you're supposed to get. It was his job. So literally, if he's healthy, shouldn't he be the starting quarterback? Like, why are we even questioning that he's the starting quarterback at this point? I think that if you look at it, they drafted him to be the starting quarterback. If they truly did not want him to be their starting quarterback, they could have traded him this summer. There would have been absolute takers for this guy. We all know that. Everybody's willing to take a young quarterback on. You know what I mean? Especially Trey Lance, a guy that had top 5 grades, a guy that they had going number 1 in certain mock drafts and said that he was the most ready NFL quarterback coming out of college. But him missing that year was huge, in my opinion. And I think that it kind of regressed him a little bit to the point to where that first year playing as a redshirt somewhat was very helpful for him. But he should have actually been already put on the bench again for the second year. But the fans demanded that he play. Now the fans have changed their tune after they saw what Purdy's capable of doing. And this is why fans aren't in charge of roster personnel. A guy can have a great moment, but once they figure out who you truly are you really one of these quarterbacks that we can put in the top 10? I think not. Because when they gave him adversity, he was not good. He did well for what he was doing for the moment, but Brock Purdy got absolutely dominated by the Philadelphia Eagles front 7, okay? And it takes a super team like that to really expose you. And I feel like they exposed a lot of things in Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is in the right position as a suitable backup. You do not force this hand with this guy. He did very good because nobody knew who he was and nobody took him seriously. But now they're going to game plan against this guy. They're going to be prepared for this guy. And they're going to figure out what do they have to take away to make him beat you. And I don't know if he has that yet. He's a great game manager. But being a great game manager is just like being a great point guard who doesn't shoot well. You have to be able to manage the offense. So if they need you to go out of managing the offense, you might be a detriment to the team in a sense to where you can't push the team towards winning if you have to do too much. And that's what it is. With Purdy, it was the mentality, just don't F this thing up. Now it's more about the mentality of, okay, can he go ahead and reduplicate what he did last season, but do it even better? And I feel like you have to give the guy the opportunity you drafted to be the guy. So I'm co-signing Trey Lance to be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't care what their fans say. I don't care what their media says. I feel that you do not draft guys in the top 5 and you do not start them. That makes no damn sense. You got to give him the opportunity to show that he can be the quarterback. And if he shows that he can't be the quarterback, that's when you bring the next guy in. It's not that hard. All right, so we move on to our next topic. We won't be long here. Anthony Richardson seems to be on a fast track to start in Indy. Is this the correct move by a franchise that wants to be back to relevancy? Well, I truly do feel that Anthony Richardson is a very good project, but he's not a sure thing. And it's very obvious to see that he's not a sure thing. But he's somebody that you can bank on for a little bit to say, you know what, this guy can push our franchise in the right direction. And really, it's to sell tickets, in my opinion. I truly do feel that it's always about selling tickets. It's never truly about, them bringing in a guy and, they feel he's the one and all that blase that they always kick in. No, they want to sell tickets because they know at the end of the day that this might not work. But you sell excitement. That's what you're doing. You're selling excitement of a rookie quarterback that you took at number 3. They said that he has Mahomes traits. They say that he got traits that you just can't coach. Blah, 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 blah. They really gas this guy up. Now he has to go ahead and show and prove. But it's not going to be an overnight situation. He's a guy it's going to have to come to him as he goes. But he does have the same body type as another guy that was fairly successful in the NFL very early in his career, and that's Cam Newton. And, they want to say Mahomes and all these other people, but they're thinking about Cam Newton. That's who they're truly thinking about. They'll never admit that, though. But Cam Newton was a rare quarterback. He was a size, power, and he could throw. So the thing about Richardson is if he can duplicate anything that young Cam did, the Colts are in the right direction. And I think that's the mentality that they have right now with having so much confidence in this quarterback. And he has taken over as a good leader to the team as well, too. So you can't deny that at all. But at the end of the day, though, he's another guy I feel that you have to ease him in. Even though he does have all the traits to show that he can be a very successful quarterback in this league, he also has the traits that show that he can be an absolute bust in this league as well, too. So I feel like you have to kind of babysit this situation because he didn't have that much college experience. They were just pretty much playing off of his talent, and he really got this because of one game. In my opinion, it was truly because of one game, and that was the opening game against Utah. And sometimes scouts get really excited about that one game, but that doesn't mean that the guy is truly a first-round grade. But I really do root for this guy to be very successful. I was able to interview him during the draft and ask him about a few questions on draft night as well, too. And I feel that Anthony Richardson's a guy that is in the right mentality of being the leader of your team. But you have to show and prove, and you have to be able to process this thing as well, too. And no, that's not racist or anything like that. The NFL quarterback is the toughest position to master in the NFL. And a lot of guys, you feel like guys have mastered the position very early in their careers, but they truly don't master this position until about the fifth, sixth, seventh year that they're in the league. To be really real with you guys, to be honest with you, to where that they are literally like gods out there, the good ones. But the bad ones, they just figure out ways to just keep getting jobs. So it is what it is. And yes, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same, nephew. Glad that you joined us today as well, too. So pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take us a quick commercial break. When I get back, we are going to jump into some Blue Crew Daily. We got some breaking news when it comes to guys being picked up and everything like that. And also, we do have some trade talks to talk about as well, too, with the Dodgers. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. So let's go ahead and get into Blue Crew Daily. Dodgers lose opener in 11 innings as Blue Jays power through to a 6-3 win as the Dodgers lose 2 in a row for the first time in a month. So the Dodgers wind up losing last night, and it wasn't fun to watch, but, they did make a great comeback last night as well, too. Max Muncy hit himself a home run, tied it up at 3-3. They forced the extra innings, but the bullpen could not save the day like they've been doing for the last few or so. So pretty much they wound up finding themselves in a position to where, pretty much it is what it is at the end of the day. And, you just got yourself in a position where, the Dodgers, they're back at home. It's tougher to win these games at home as well, too. A lot of people don't understand that part, but it's always a little tougher to win these games at home. So pretty much after being gone for the last 2 weeks, the Dodgers just could not come up with the plan that they needed to win the game. It's just that simple. Now, they had a good pitching effort going last night. That's good. And tonight they got Julio Urias back on the mound. Even though Julio did have a little bit of issues in his last game, this should be a good measurement game for him moving forward as well, too, because the Dodgers know that they can't play around too much, because Arizona did lose last night and San Francisco didn't play yesterday. So pretty much San Francisco played an early game. I think they lost. So the Dodgers have to put themselves in position to stay ahead by at least 5 games so these teams don't get any confidence. You know what I mean? And they have head-up matchups with both the Giants and the Diamondbacks coming up in August as well, too. So that's going to be key to moving forward for the Dodgers on getting themselves the AL West title and making sure that they are in a position to where they get the bye, to where they don't have to be one of the teams that play one of these wild card teams in a quick 3-game series, because that can be kind of detrimental, because then you're playing in this series and you're not really having enough time to really get your rest, your proper rest that you need to get. And I know that the Dodgers might want to jump into that this year because what happened last year. But I think, though, at the end of the day, they would love to have those extra few days off with the 2 spot. And we know that it's going to be tough to catch the Braves, because the Braves have the best record in baseball, and the Braves are cruising at this point right now as well, too. But when I look at who's the better team, we can all kind of agree and say that the Dodgers might be the better unit, because they already went over there and showed that they can beat the Braves in a series this year, because they got the pitching, they got the hitting, they got the fielding that can keep up with this Braves team. And the Braves know that as well, too, because at the end of the day, the Dodgers might not have World Series on World Series, and they might not have went to a World Series every year, but let's keep it real. We know that they went to 3 out of 3 in a 4-year stretch. Okay. So pretty much 3 out of 4, they've just missed the last 2, but they had went to the last 3 out of 4. So the Dodgers know exactly what it takes to get to the big series. And I think that this team is battle tested enough to be that group this year. And I say that because they just brought back a guy who's a vital piece to all those teams that went to the World Series, and that's Kike Hernandez. Kike Hernandez was the guy that put the Dodgers over the top in 2017 when he pushed them to the World Series with that epic home run in New York. Not New York, but in Chicago at Wrigley Field, that literally ended the Cubs, whatever they were putting together at that point in time. I guess the Cubs dynasty, because the Cubs haven't been back to the playoffs since. So pretty much Kike Hernandez is back with the team. They traded for him today. That's huge. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered. They needed a second baseman and an extra outfielder. There he is. So now Kike can take back over at second base, which is a very comfortable position for him. And you can get Mookie back out in the outfield as well, too. But at the same time, too, that kind of holds up Jason Hayward as well. But you have a utility man in Kike, and he doesn't have to play every single day. So the Dodgers have a better lineup when it comes to the professionals that they have in their lineup. They couldn't make this about a youth movement mixed up with the vets. They had to make this about professional ball players this year. And I like it. I like it a lot. The only young pup that they have left around with the group right now is James Outman. The rest of them, they're puppies too, young guys, but they weren't in the plans off top. So they don't fall into that regard. But the Dodgers are doing it the way that all good teams do when it's time to actually go ahead and put together a World Series contender. And I think the Dodgers are doing everything the correct way. Now, next is possibly bringing in another starter or 2, and then bringing in another reliever as well, too. I don't think they have to worry about bringing in any more hitters. But from what I'm hearing right now is Nolan Arenado is a very, very possible situation, as he's already said that he would lift his no-trade clause to come to Los Angeles, and the Dodgers do have the pieces to make the deal happen as well, too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we'll just go from there. But it is what it is, and we move forward with that. Now, real quick, Nephew came in and says Barkley signs a 1-year deal, and we did see that earlier, and I'm very happy that he signed his franchise tender, so then we can get that out the way, and then he can get on with his business, you know what I mean? And I know that this is going to be a show and prove season for him, but this also opens up the door for the possibility of getting a long-term deal as well too. I know that he signed this with the good faith in mind that he will be able to get a deal done with the Giants, and I know the Giants have promised him that as well too. So, you know, there's a lot of good things that are being done behind closed doors, but it's always messy on the outside. because you always have somebody up in here who wants to be the person that tells these players how to operate their careers and tell these players they're making bad decisions and all that other extra stuff that's just nonsense. You know what I mean? These guys are trying to look out for their futures. And if they feel they've earned the money for that portion, don't question them. Don't question them at all. Just it's up to the team to decide if they want to do that, and it's up to the player to decide if he's willing to accept whatever they're going to give him to continue their career. It's not that hard. It's really not. But fans putting their 2 cents in is never helpful. All you do is just embarrass yourself because you don't know what's going on. You just know what's going on the surface, and the media has to tell you certain things in a certain way so they can keep the iron hot on a situation that might be a non-issue situation. It's the boy that cried wolf. As long as they can keep up the shenanigans and you keep falling for it, then they're going to keep getting the attention that they need to push that story. If you don't pay attention to the story, then they're going to move on from the story too. It's just really that simple. So it's all about reaction, and that's truly what it is. We all know that Saquon wasn't going anywhere. We all know that Saquon is in the midst of trying to get that deal done, and the professionals will get it done. And if they don't, he'll move on to the next team. It's not that hard. We don't have to get emotional over this. It's business at the end of the day. All right, so we got the MLB Tuesday night. Really good games, full schedule, a lot of interleague, interstate matchups. So that means that it's rivalry week in a sense. So you got the Marlins and the Rays, and you got an old OG series with the Braves and the Red Sox. Then you got the Yankees and the Mets this week. You also have the Cubs and the White Sox this week as well too. So you got a lot of these interstate, inner city matchups going on this week. So it's a lot of good stuff that okay. And Kadarius Tony is hurt, so he's gonna have to have surgery as well, too. So we have MLB Tuesday night. Very, very good games. Up first, we got the Marlins and the Rays. And the Rays coming to this game, they're kind of struggling, dog. 61-42. You have the Marlins who are 55-47. They've been struggling a bit as well too, and that has not been good at all. And I did see Naheem Hines as well too, nephew, with him being out. Somebody actually ran into his leg while he was chilling on a jet ski or something like that. But it was weird, the injury, because somebody ran into him. So it sucks because it's probably going to be his career. But Marlins Rays 55-47 on the season. They've struggled. Let's keep it real. They had a good little run where they won 6 in a row, and then they started to struggle a bit because they got swept in a series nobody saw them get swept in a few weeks back. So the Rays the Marlins trying to get themselves back in order somewhat. As you can see, I just said what I said. They lost 8 in a row, and they got swept in 2 series in a row, and they lost 2 out of 3 to the Colorado. So this team really has kind of, I'm not going to say they fell off, but they were doing much better than this before. They've had a lousy month. They've only won 6 games. So this team is trying to get it back together, and they're not trying to lose their spot from what we can see. Because, they're 54-47 at this point, but they're falling off by the day. That's the whole thing. Because now when you look up, Miami's not even in the playoff race anymore. They were in the playoff race for the last month or so. They were the number 1 wild card team. Now they find themselves on the outside looking in. And now Cincinnati is taking back over. They're not the number 1 spot after they were out of the playoff situation. And it seems like Arizona and San Francisco have this thing locked in as well too. But Miami's tied with both of them. So they got a 3-way tie going. And then you have Philly that's a half a game out. So settling the wild card is going to be a stretch in itself. And then you still have Chicago, Padres, and the Mets all with trying to rear their ugly heads. Even though you have the Mets who are 7 games back, you have the Padres, who are 6 games back, and the Cubs are 5 games back. But I keep telling you guys, the Cubs are in for a big run. But when it comes down to this one, you have a team in the Devil Rays who've absolutely been dreadful this month as well, too. They started off the month losing 7 in a row. Then they were able to win 3 in a row. Then they've lost their last 7 out of 8 games. This is just awful. This team has only won 4 games this month out of a team. And this team, you have to understand, got a head start over everybody in the MLB. They were 13-0. When you run their record now, boy, oh boy, this team is now only 48-42 since that point. That's not good. That's pretty middling at best. And it kind of tells you exactly who the Rays are. And I keep trying to explain this to you guys that they were a front runner. They were never a team that you could take seriously on winning the World Series this year. I'm sorry. It's just they're not there yet. They've actually lost a lot of players from that group that went to the World Series that were key to their team moving forward and invested in their youth portion of the team because they don't pay people. And this is what happens when you don't pay people. You wind up in a situation like this where you get off to a great start, but when you fall off pretty hard. And that's exactly what's happening to the Rays right now. They have to catch their breath and breathe just a little bit. They have to catch their breath and breathe. But this game, when it comes down to it tonight, I feel like the Marlins are going to do what everybody keeps doing to the Rays, and that's absolutely just kick their butts. I love the Marlins tonight as my dog of the day. I'm taking them with the plus 175. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. We got the Braves and the Red Sox. This should be another really good game today. The Braves, best record in baseball at 64-34. You have a ascending Red Sox team that is doing everything possible to will themselves into the playoffs. This team at one point was sitting in last place for a full month and with a winning record. Now they find themselves 2.5 games out of third place, but in a deadlock with the Yankees. They've won their last 6 out of 10 games, but they've been a much better team over the last 6 weeks. Even though they just recently lost 4 in a row, they bounced back and swept the Royals over the weekend. Now they find themselves I'm sorry, that was the Yankees. Boston, that's different. I was looking at the Yankees. I was like, damn, Boston. But Boston has been much better this month. At one point, they had won 6 in a row, and they've won 12 games this month. Okay, they're 12-5 this month. They're doing very well. They just came off a bad week, a funny week last week. They went 3-3. They dropped 2 out of 3 to the A's. Then they took 2 out of 3 from the Mets. So that goes to show you the moxie of this team as well, too. And they've had probably their best month of the season, and they find themselves moving towards their goal in hand. And they're in the playoff picture as well, too, right now. And so pretty much they are looking to catch Toronto so they can be in the mix. But at the end of the day, it seems like Tampa Bay is doing exactly what they want them to do. They're lying. It seems like they're about to lie down for this situation. And Boston and the Yankees will make some moves at the trade deadline that will put them in the scope of things. The Yankees got one big run left in them. I promise you that. And the Angels got decisions to make. Same thing goes with Seattle as well, too. And Cleveland's still in Cleveland, but regardless of anything, Cleveland's still in a race. Okay, Cleveland is only 4 games behind the Minnesota, so they're still in a race that's going to come down to the final month. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But for this game tonight, I do like the Red Sox to keep this game close. I'm taking them with the plus 1.5. We're getting minus 130 on that bad boy as well, too. All right, so we move forward, and let's go ahead and jump into our final game, which is going to be the Marlins and the Twins tonight. This is a good matchup. You got 2 really good vets going at it tonight as well, too. And as I said on Mike's show last week, the team that you have to look out for in the American League is the Twins. The Twins have won their last 4 out of 6. I mean, their last 6 out of 8. In reality, they've actually won their last 8 out of 10. So they've done pretty good. They swept the A's. They went 2-2 against Seattle, and then a monster weekend last weekend sweeping the White Sox, because they have had issues with their division all year long, but now they're starting to put it all together in the right way. And so now they find themselves 4 games ahead, their biggest lead of this season, and they are coming into full swing at this moment as well, too, in my opinion. You got some really good pitchers. You got your ace going today, and Pablo Lopez, who's been pitching some way better baseball as of late. Even though he had a little bit of a hiccup against the A's in his last 5, he's been exceptional other than that game. You know what I mean? So he's been good. And, absolute gem right now, striking out 28 guys in his last 4 games. So that's like 7 a game average. So pretty much tonight, Pablo Lopez looks to extend this lead, and the Mariners look to keep things afloat. So the way that I see this one shaping up tonight, I really do like the Twins to actually win this game, and win this game by multiple runs. So I got them with the 1.5 tonight, and it's going to be plus 70 on that ticket as well, too, for that cash out if we can get it home. So with that, you got 50 and 50 on the Mariners, 54 and 48 with the Twins. So this is another really good matchup tonight. So with that, I'm going to take another quick commercial break. And when I get back, we are going to jump into Talking Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, so we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, and I already know we got nephew in the house, so I already know he's excited. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and jump into Talking Tickets. And you guys know this is the best segment in all of sports betting. Last night, we had an 80-1 ticket, and we missed it by 1 run. But as I always say, single what you like. Single up those bad boys and always use the parlay as a reward. I'm not telling y'all to play parlays every day. I'm telling you to play what you feel is the best bet on the list. You know what I mean? And I know that you guys are like, I want you to tell me what the best bet is. Well, I got a whole different group that you can get the best bet on. If you are interested in being a client, hit me up. I'll get you signed up. We'll get you your premium play daily, your one-shot kill if you just need that. And we can roll from there. But if you want to keep just going ahead and looking at, getting free plays and, taking your shot at small risk and a big reward, then more power to you. But I do have another system that I can show you that gets you consistent money as well, too. So with that, you guys hit me up and you guys can become a part of the Primetime Sports Investors. And you guys can hit me up on the Twitter, or you can email me at primewavemedia@yahoo.com. Or you guys can hit me up on the OG email, popdbiase@icloud.com. So there it is. There it is. I just had to let you guys know that once again. But as I always say, single what you like, and let's see what I got. Up first, WNBA tonight. We have ourselves the Sky plus 14.5. Also, the under 163.5 with the Mercury and the Dream. We got the Storm tonight in their spot. I got them with the plus 15. Also, Sun money line plus 140. I'll take it. They're on the road tonight, but this team has had a little bit of controversy going around the team, and they need something to silence the critics a little bit. I think they do it tonight. And then we have the Sparks, who are absolutely struggling at this moment, but they have a little bit of a breather tonight going against the Fever. So I'm going to take the over 163.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. We move forward from there. We have ourselves the Marlins, and the Marlins kicking off our pick six tonight. And I got that one set up at 88-1 for you guys. So we'll see how that goes. But we got the Marlins to kick it off as our dog of the day, plus 175. We also have the over 9.5 with the Rockies and the Nats. So we have them in the house with us today as well, too. We got the Red Sox plus 1.5, minus 130, going against the best team in baseball today. Then we have the Royals and the Guardians. We got the good old vet, Zach Greinke, on the mound, and he's going against Savali for the Guardians. So I'm going to take the under 9 in the spot. I explained the Twins game to you guys, so I'm taking the plus 170 with them winning by 2 or more runs. And then we finish up with the Cubbies on the road, first the White Sox, north side versus south side, and I'm taking the Cubs with the minus 120. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. We have ourselves the MLB Late PK4, 12-1. We have the Rangers and the Astros vying for the lead in the AL West, and I'm going to take the under 8.5 in this spot. Then we got the Padres. I'm taking them with the 1.5. That's actually going to be a minus 105 as well, too. And then we have the Cardinals tonight, plus 105 in Arizona, going against Merrill Kelly, fresh off the IR as well, too. And then we finish up with the over 8 with the A's and the Giants, and that's going to be a 12-1 ticket tonight. So there's a bunch of value there for you. We got 31-1, we got 88-1, we got 12-1, all double digits for you guys tonight. So small risk, big rewards. You can get yourself taken care of tonight. You can get yourself paid if one of these hit. But as I always say, single what you like, and we move forward from there. But all in all, I thank you guys so much for tuning into today's show. You guys are the absolute best. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the